Welcome to the Thrive podcast with the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church.
How does your faith kind of play into it, or does it play into it?
What can be done about it? When I say the church, I'm talking about evangelical white Christians and the black folk who attend their churches.
Hello and welcome to the Thrive Podcast with Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. I am not Pastor Fred Jeff Smith. I am filling in for Pastor Fred Jeff Smith. I'm Terrence Turner, and today we are joined by sound extraordinaire, sound expert, all around very good person and very good guy, Andrae McCray.
How's it going today, sir?
How do you do, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Doing great.
Thank you for having me.
So, for people who don't know, Andrae not only handles sounds for high level clientele. Andrae handles the sound here at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, tell me about the experience as far as handling corporate clients, because you have a big experience with that. You've done concerts and everything else to handling churches. What's the difference in that?
It's not much of a difference. The only difference is mostly for me being in the music industry. It's more of an actual performance as opposed to here the focus is more on the speaking. It's more on the minister. Which is that kind of creates more of an easier job for us, because whenever we're doing sound for a band or a concert, then it's a lot of things that are going on at one particular time. So that means, you're actually, making sure the background vocal mics are consistently working in there at a certain level.
But you do, but you guys do have to deal with kind of concert-esque type things as well too, because of the choir and the musicians as well.
Yeah, but it's not as much going on. It's not as demanding. Put it like that.
Okay.
When you deal with certain artists of a certain caliber, they really they really expect a lot from you. Some of them, not gonna say all, but some of them expect a lot. Some of them are, they're very very nitpicky in what they actually ask for, as opposed to a choir, or a church that only has a keyboard, a piano. On a drummer, so it's not as much going on as opposed to, when you're doing a concert. Yeah, you may have a pianist, you may have a keyboard player, but then you got to make sure that all your drums are mic'd and so forth, as opposed to here, we do mic all the drums, but that's just strictly for recording purposes only. But they're used to any environment they go in, whether it's large or small, they want that arena feel.
Got you. Now, let me back up just a little bit, because we kind of jumped into it, but give us a little background about exactly how you got started in this industry, and for those who don't know, you have your own company dealing with this industry. Correct. It's not like you just kind of vacillate between this person and that person. You actually have an established company that does contract work with people.
Well, I've been doing this now for 30 years. 30 years, yes, sir.
I thought you were 30.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I started DJing when I was 15, and it kind of came about kind of very interesting, because I just really like music, to begin with. So I used to order all the CDs and cassettes and things. And
did you order the CDs from the catalog? You got to pay a penny.
Yeah.
But then we never paid the penny.
I paid the penny.
You paid the penny. Okay. I think they still want the penny from me.
Yeah, Columbia House and BMG, when they would actually give you the 10 tapes for a penny or 12.
I got a lot of albums off of them.
So yeah, I started collecting as a music collector, and then from there it grew into my cousin lived down the street, and he used to throw a lot of parties. So he was like, well, man, hey, why don't you come DJ party for us? I was like, okay. It's like, man, you got all the music, you got everything, So I was like, okay. But at that point in time, I didn't have a sound system. So me and this guy, one of my buddies, real close friends of mine, Randy Morris, his brother had an older brother. He had a sound system, little house, house stereo.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, man, y'all can use it. So Randy, he had a lot of music too, because his brother was a huge Prince fan, man. So he loved Prince and all the, older hits and so forth. So he had a bunch of music, EPMD, all that type of stuff. So we kind of collaborated with that, and the business kind of took off. We started DJing, like I say, with a dual deck cassette player. From there, as I got older and got to college, was I would say, well, no, I'd say when I was a senior in high school, I probably purchased my first DJ system, which means I got my own little tower house speaker, Fisher system. I bought me a turntable, used from the pawn shop. Just kind of started really putting emphasis on being a DJ because I really did like music. Originally, I was a saxophone player. I played saxophone since I was in the 4th grade. In every single band you can think of, concert band, marching band, from started I think at St. Pius when I was at St. Pius.
So you played the saxophone?
Alto saxophone, yes.
I played the alto sax.
Yeah, so that's,
I know.
Yep, and then
Got
from
something
there,
in common.
progressed to college to the human jukebox, but but yeah, so that's kind of how I got into the music industry, and then from there, when I got to college, it was a demand for larger parties because I did a lot of fraternity parties, a lot of sorority parties. So at that point, you're talking about a crowd of 500 to 1,000 people. I mean, I did LSU, I did Southern. So
now, did the fraternities ever try to recruit you? Like, hey, we're gonna have our own exclusive DJ now?
Not really, because I was one of the very popular DJs back then during my time at Southern University, and I guess the fraternities actually would communicate either to the the fraternities at LSU, and vice versa, as well as the sororities, that hey, this is the DJ we use, or they would either be at the parties, when they did they.
I'm thinking they would have been trying to get like a discount, like hey, look, yeah, make them a queue.
Well, sometimes I was very reasonable though during that time because I kind of wanted to be a businessman at an early age. So it's like as soon as I got to college, I was the guy that showed up as a freshman with a briefcase, a leather attaché case. I had a pager. I had a bag cell phone. Did
you get accused of being?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Because that seemed like
I got those accusations.
The '90s drug dealer uniform. Yeah. Like you, what you just described is what's the guy on Lean on Me that showed up? He had the suit. I was like, oh, I want to be like you, Mr. Clark.
Yeah, light skin. Yep, I did get accused
Kid Ray.
of that.
You were Kid Ray.
I actually did get accused of that. People, what do you do? This is. And I still get some of that today. Like, DJs really make this kind of money. Stuff like that. But it's all in fun. I'm like, this is all I do. I enjoy it. It's real. But back then, I probably had more money than I got now because back then I worked in retail. I want to say I started off when I was a junior in high school at McDonald's, and then I kind of went from there to High Neighbor to I kind of worked my way up through the ranks to my first, I ain't gonna say first real job, but first job where I was a manager was at Circuit City. I was a floor supervisor before that at Office Max when they were over there in Cortana. I did that for a couple of years, and then was recruited over to Circuit City by one of my buddies, Reginald Wells. Well, he's a good friend now, wasn't a friend then. And then from there, I kind of learned management. You know what I mean? I learned a lot. I actually went up through the ranks at Circuit City to where I was in a position to be either the operations manager or store manager, which was next on my list, which I did not do. And then from there, we all left, and I went on to supervise and at Super Target, opened up the one in Lafayette. Okay. So from a business standpoint, the way my company kind of started, like I say, I started as a DJ, but then I kind of learned through management how to actually be a business owner. Retail experience and management experience helped me to learn that. Then I went from retail over to finance. I worked for Wells Fargo for right at about 3.5 to 4 years, where I learned how to deal with finances.
Oh, so you know how to deal with people on the management side, and you know how to deal with money on the finance side.
Correct.
Okay,
yeah. So I have experience in both of those areas to say that, I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in therapeutic recreation, which is working with people through disabilities through recreative skills. So,
hey man, how prepared are you trying to be, man? You mean to tell me you can help me with my finances?
That's right.
You can help me manage people.
That's right.
And if I got a kink in my neck, you can help me with that too.
Well, no, I ain't say I was massage. No, I can't help you with the kink in your neck. But as we say, that falls more with people with disabilities, and we try to create a happy place for them. Is what that would be.
Okay.
So, say for example, if you you became an elderly person, and
I hope to become elderly one day.
Absolutely, and your thing was you enjoy horseback riding. Where our goal is to keep you doing the things that you enjoy doing to make life happy for you, so you don't fall into a depressed state. Some people, the older they get, they feel like, oh, I can't do the things I used to do. I used to like to swim. Well, we try to create a treatment plan for you to be able to do those things, regardless of what your disability may be. Whether it be Alzheimer's, whether it be amputated leg. Our goal is to create a treatment plan to where we keep you active in doing something, whether it's arts and crafts or whatever you like to do. Could be wheelchair basketball, just because, you used to play basketball, so you can find a wheelchair right now. So our job is to find a place you can do wheelchair basketball and set you up and put you in that position.
So I'm pretty sure people are listening to this right now and they had no idea just how knowledgeable you were. Some people, especially, if you go here to Shiloh, you may only see Dre as the tall guy walking around with the iPad. But
right.
Clearly, he had a life before the iPad.
Yes, I did have a life before the iPad.
And clearly, he has just a vast level of knowledge. So
I'll tell you a little knowledge.
Yeah. So you spoke about not only the art of DJing and also the art of just managing sound.
Correct.
Because there's a difference in being a DJ and then being a sound engineer.
Correct.
But then you also have to wear the hat of a business management person almost, because you have your own company. Mm-hmm. Which one of those hats do you find yourself wearing more nowadays? Now that you're established, you have other sound engineers and other DJs working under you now. Mm-hmm. Which one of those do you find yourself doing more often now, though?
Right now, the hat that I would say I wear the most would be the hat of the business owner, because when I say the business owner, I mean I'm responsible now for the marketing aspect of the business. I'm responsible for building the clientele of the business so that the DJs and the sound engineers that I've brought aboard have jobs. They have work, to be able to do. So right now, I think that's probably the most demanding part of being a business owner is actually being able to market yourself, make yourself available to other clients, bring in new clients, to see how you can better their situation or whatever their event may be. And with the competition that's already out there, because there's always going to be the less experienced DJs. We're not going to say low budget, but the less experienced DJs, the DJs who are just coming into the game, as opposed to me. I'm 45. I'll be 45 this year. Where they're coming in and they're not saying that they're not talented, but they may not know as much, and
they don't know all the ins and outs.
Right, they don't know all the ins and outs of the business, but at the same time, they may be talented as far as with the music that they play.
Gotcha.
Because I can honestly say, back then, when I listened to a professional DJ, a turntablist, a guy that's mixing and scratching and transitioning, I wasn't that guy. I wanted to be that guy, but I'm booking gigs back then for $50, $75, as opposed to these guys are probably making $200-$300 back in the 80s,
Man.
So that was good money, back then.
So did they have the briefcase and suit too?
No, probably not. I mean, it's funny, and the reason I say it's funny because I look at the DJs that are out there. I'm probably one of the few DJs that, when people see me, I'm dressed like, they're more hip hop style, they t-shirts, tennis shoes, and, sweatsuits and stuff like that. And I was always the guy where I show up with Gucci shoes on the DJ party, with slacks and jeans.
And I guess that goes more into the persona and the reputation that you've built about yourself, is that you are a person that is really about your business.
Right.
Which, I think that is something that probably needs to be displayed more. When you think of DJ, everybody does tend to always think of the guy who just wearing jeans and a t-shirt and they kind of just show up with equipment and that's it.
That's right.
And with you, I think that probably invokes more confidence with people when they book you, because they say, okay, this ain't the typical average
right. He takes
format.
time to focus on all of the small things.
Exactly.
It's not just about, showing up with, like you say, the speakers and the turntables and the laptop now, but the image, we want to make sure that we give you an image that you won't forget, at your party. We want to make sure that we're dressed apart. So if you had a theme party, and you say, hey, it's an all-white party, we want to wear all white. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to be the guy over there in all black.
And everybody
else is in white. So, that's why I try to, and things like that have happened, where sometimes I've actually showed up, and that may have either been because I came from another event to there, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we may have 2 or 3 events in a day, or it could be where, that particular client didn't tell me they had a theme, which has happened before because I guess they didn't feel like it was important to tell me that, hey, there's a theme for this party. So, it's kind of funny now because, my girlfriend, she'll ask me more so along the lines of, hey, is there a certain dress? She wants to know because she want to make sure she's not out of place.
Exactly,
with that puts a little bit more of a emphasis on me to be like, oh, wait, hey, so yeah, what's the color code for this event that you got going on? Is it jeans? Is it dress up event? Is it, what is it? So yeah, we try to definitely make sure we follow that and make sure that we come dressed apart. We come with all the equipment that's needed to make sure that your event is a blast.
Now that also kind of leads me to another question, even about how you go about dealing with your clientele. So not only do you provide sound, you provide a whole atmosphere, if I'm understanding correct as well too about you.
Yeah.
I've heard you speak before about providing lighting and all these different other elements. So because I think again people have this concept where they say, okay, I'm a book a DJ or a sound person for this event, because it may not be particularly DJing, it might be we want you to handle a whole PA system and everything, which is what you do as well.
Correct.
But you bring a whole environment with you, do you not?
Our focus now, as I've grown in the business, is to create a production. That's what we're trying to do. What you see on TV, when it comes down to, like I was watching this morning, American Idol, The Voice, and different concerts and things, the Grammys, our goal is to create a mini stage of that. I got moving headlights, I got monogram lighting for your wedding if you're gonna have Mr. and Mrs. on the wall, such and such, got married June of 2020, we can put that on the wall for you. We got uplighting that can go all around the room. We've got a dry ice fog machine that can lay a layer of fog on the floor, for you to make your grand entrance in and make it look like you walking on the clouds. So we got truss, we've got monitors where we can do video mixing. I got probably 3,000, 4,000 videos that I can DJ between, and those videos are shown on the screens that we mount on those truss. So yes, we've got a wide array, and today actually we just ordered the glass stage today. So now we
now tell me about this glass stage. You said that real nonchalantly, like we ordered a glass stage. So people are listening. Paint the picture of this glass stage.
Well, I ordered a 16 by 20 glass stage, so we do a lot of band situations, and sometimes it can just be used as a platform for a wedding party, if they just want to sit up there. But the glass stage has an adjustable height up to 3 feet off the ground, and it's all glass. Literally, you can put lights under it, and whatever you put the lights under, you can illuminate that entire floor. And you can make it red, blue, green, whatever color you choose, and it's your day. You can be in the spotlight, literally. We can also use it as a runway for fashion shows. It can break down, and we can create a runway for a fashion show, which is kind of stuff that they do in New York and so forth. And it'll give you that certain appearance. That glass stage I've seen on certain pictures where they actually put it in a pool. They had a couple got married, and that was the aisle for the bride and groom to walk down, for the bride to walk down, and the pastor waited at the other end of the pool, and they stood on the glass stage on top of the pool.
So you definitely raising the bar.
Yes, I am. That is my focus.
I can't even say you're raising the bar. You're redefining what the bar is.
Well, these are all things that are available to us, and my goal, like I say, with Baton Rouge being a small city, it's a lot of things that, a lot of people here don't get to see. Like not everybody is able to travel and go out of town. So my thing is, if you can't travel and see it, I want to bring it to you.
Okay. Now, speaking of Baton Rouge, the city that we reside in, and you being the in-demand sound company that you are, you've also had to provide sound for some political events as well, correct? Or events that involve politics or anything. Correct. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, we've done sound for Sharon Weston Broom. We did a sound system for her event, which was.
Who is the mayor of Baton Rouge?
Yeah, it was the mayor of Baton Rouge.
Got to say that because, it's people outside of Baton Rouge that actually listen to the podcast. Okay. So that's why I want to make sure we clarify.
The mayor of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Sharon Weston Broom. But, yeah, she did a prayer vigil just for senseless killing, senseless violence in the community. So we actually did the entire sound system for that, and she had some gospel artists and singers come out and perform for that. This coming up this month, we actually got the Louisiana State Troopers Association, their safety event at Dixie Landing. I've done Lamont Cole, Councilman Lamont Cole of Baton Rouge, District 61. We've done several events for him, back to school. C. Denise Marcel, State Representative of Louisiana. We've done a wide array of events of her, for her, from back to school to the Gush Young Christmas Parade to Easter in the Park back in the day. Also Lamont Cole does an Easter in the Park. So just from a political standpoint, numerous events. I just received a call the other day about a young lady. She's running for judge here in Baton Rouge, and she has a day event out in Baker that she's trying to do, so to a community event. So it's so many events that I can't even, Juneteenth, see Denise Marcel does that at Gush Young. She actually started Juneteenth over there several years ago. So just I run across a lot of important people, man, and it's actually fun to work with them. I know Jasiri, he's an activist here in EBR as well, and he does certain community events and a lot of things he has going on. So we kind of run sound. I've done sound for him. Me and him have worked together. We've longtime friends. So just everybody's working together. That's kind of the focus here. To kind of make sure that we try to make Baton Rouge as safe as it can be, and as well bring a lot of different things to the community that, like I say, these kids haven't seen, and then we kind of focus on them because one thing about them is these kids now they need something to do. They need something to focus on. Right. They need to be able to see people like me, regardless of my educational background, that hey, you can have a business and be successful and not necessarily have to go to college. Those are things that you can do, but you do need to make sure that you're pushing forward in a positive direction. Because a lot of kids now think that selling drugs is the only way I can make money. Exactly. Which is not
sports.
Or sports, right? So we just want to be able to show them that there's a lot of diversity, man. A lot of things that you can do that you don't have to go to school for and be highly successful.
So we want to make sure that the kids out there know that you're not odd if you show up to school wearing a suit,
right,
and got a briefcase.
Correct.
And a pager. That don't mean that you got to be a drug dealer.
That's right.
That just means you're in business training.
That's right.
So, hey, to all my adolescents out there that's under 18, if you going to school and you want to rock a suit, you rock your suit.
Rock your suit.
And you bring your briefcase. You don't have to have a book bag. Bring a briefcase.
Yeah.
All right. And
I spent a lot of money on that briefcase.
There you go. And they don't have pages anymore, but
hey,
use your phone for more than just Candy Crush.
That's right. It's a platform, man.
There you go.
It's a platform. Now they actually, the funny part about it is a lot of these kids don't understand, I guess, with us and the times that we grew up in, they have social media. They have ways to reach out and touch people, from a marketing standpoint, to let people know they exist.
Exactly.
We didn't have that.
You had to press the flesh.
Yeah, those things, literally you only knew the people who you were in the city with, that you went to school with, or
your circle.
Your circle, that you met from other people. So our our job in connecting with clients and finding business partners and things of that nature, man, was a lot more difficult as opposed to what they have now and what's been set up for them. But yeah, those are just things that, Platinum Recording and Sound, we kind of focus on, man, and I try to make sure that all of my staff, they remain happy, and they're very humble guys, very good guys, man. They hold it down whenever I'm tied up or I'm sick or something. They got it. That's one thing I can definitely say. I can call and Dre, I got taken care of. And I feel, and that's great, as a business owner to feel comfortable that, your people can definitely step in and make sure that everything runs smoothly.
So now, do you take more joy in that now? Because like you Absolutely. Said, you've been doing it for 30 years.
Right.
I almost said 15. I said, no, you got to add another 15 to that. He'll look like it, but yeah. So 30 years in this.
Right. We make 15 years this year. Platinum Recording and Sound as an LLC. We'll make 15 years this year. This will be our 15-year anniversary. I take great pride. And it was hard to do, but I take great pride in being able to hand over the baton and allow these guys to do what they do, because now, like I say, my focus, I still DJ, but the music has changed so much, man. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't enjoy DJing, because I still do, but just the way the music is now and the way the partying is now is totally different. They don't dance as much as we used to.
Yeah, they just go there and take pictures.
Everything now is more taking pictures, saying, hey, I was in the building, I was there, but it's like,
did you really enjoy?
Yeah, did you really enjoy yourself? Right. And I mean, and if that's fun to them, that's great. But I'm just so used to that moving crowd. I'm so used to people just when you play certain music, man, the dance floor is just super packed.
Yeah.
And
I guess you feed off that energy too.
Correct.
Exactly.
And typically, in my day, it was from start to finish. I mean, even when we had high school dances at the gym, I mean, literally, we cut up. You know what I mean? At high school, what I'm saying? We wasn't around there wondering like, oh, what the teacher gonna say? Well, the teacher looking at us, man. Like we weren't like, hey, y'all throwing us a day. We gonna have fun.
Yeah.
We gonna party. So just now things are a lot different. It's more of a fashion show now. Everybody, want to come and just hang out and socialize, which is fine. Like I said, I have no problem with that, but it's almost like the DJ is not the primary focus. It's a necessity, but it's not the focus. It's almost like you're in the background.
Okay.
At least for the first couple of hours. You know what I mean? Because as they all get in there, they have to socialize and mingle and so forth. So the party doesn't start to 2 hours later.
Gotcha.
So you got to understand that you're gonna get an hour and a half to 2 hours of partying, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna party for 4 straight hours. But yeah, I take a joy, like I say, in passing the baton now, because I prefer to be, not going to say more hands-off, but I prefer to be the guy to know that everything is going to run regardless of whether I'm there or not.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely a tangible thing to look at as far as success is, not only what you've done for yourself, but also how you've empowered others as well, and being able to say, hey, I didn't just make myself successful.
Correct.
It's 10 other people that I can look at and I made them successful, or I contributed to their success.
Correct.
And then from there, that lineage kind of continues on, because if you help empower 10 people, then hopefully each individual empower 10 other people after them, and then it just continues on and on and on.
Right.
Now, this being a podcast based in a church, I do want to ask, how does your faith play into how you move in life as far as being a businessman, an entrepreneur? Because anybody who knows anything about business, they know that it is a very risky thing to get into.
Correct.
Because there's no safety net at the end of the day.
You are it.
Exactly. And I know you even spoke before when you first started. You would be DJing, but you had a job here and there.
Correct.
But 15 years in, as far as having your company established, there's no other job. This is what you do. So how does one's faith play into that every day, where you get up and it's like, okay, got to get up and get it? Does your faith play into that?
I mean, just through my entire life, and I trust the Lord to order my steps. The Lord is going to order my steps, in which He's done, and I I mean, once I left, Wells Fargo, that was my last job that I physically worked at. I never looked back. I mean, I left and I had probably $10,000 in the bank. And
he says it's so nonchalant.
I mean, yeah, that's what I had in the bank. $9,000 to $10,000 in the bank, and I mean, literally, probably after about 9 months of trying to, acquire business, I mean, I was still making money, but the hardest part for me was the fact that I DJ'd just on weekends because I worked these other jobs. So with me just DJing on weekend, I had to start looking at the simple fact, I'm like, man, okay, I just DJ on weekend, I'm making, $200 on a Friday, $200 on a Saturday. That's only $400 a week.
Yeah.
We got to find something else to generate some more revenue to make up for the other days, because this is not enough for me to be able to live off of.
Exactly.
So that's when karaoke came into play.
Okay.
That's how karaoke started, of trying to find something else. What are they doing? Something has happened during the week at these spots. Something is happening, So went to quite a few spots and observed that karaoke would be taking place at these daiquiri shops, man. And, it would be, 50, 75, 100 people in there. And I was like, well, man, that's a good idea. I mean, what are they charging for this kind of stuff? I know it can be a lot, but it's looking at the numbers
still
of, okay,
something that generates revenue.
Right. Well, if I go to, hypothetically speaking, like I said, I worked at Wells Fargo, even though I was a salesperson, I got paid commission and base salary, but I think I made, I was at Wells Fargo, I might have made $40,000 or $39,000 a year plus, commission. Well, as a businessman, I started looking at numbers. I started looking at how much money do I need to make a day in order for me to be able to make sure that I made the salary that I made over there.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's kind of what I took. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm guaranteed $400 a week, and I do another $300-$400 through the course of the week doing karaoke, if I can carry on Tuesday night, make $200, Wednesday night, make $200, okay, well, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Now we turning this into a $6,000, $8,000, $1,000 a week. Yeah. I can potentially live off of that, and during that time, it's like, okay, I established a company, but it's like it's tax free to me because I'm not, not necessarily saying, don't report your taxes, but you understand what I'm saying? But during this time,
that business mind kicks in real quick.
Yeah, but it goes on to where I'm looking at, okay, this could work. This could work, and me and Adonis Reed, Comedian Big Sexy, me and him, we actually got together because, I used to DJ events when he worked at Carville, Job Corps out there in Carville, Louisiana. And, I was like, I knew he was a comedian. Me and him went to Southern University together. I got with him. He, I was like, man, what you think about karaoke? And the guy whose club I was DJing at, Lenny, at House of Blues, he had a full karaoke system. So he loved to sing karaoke. That's what he loved to do. And he was like, man, you need to learn this. And the first time he told me, I was like, I don't learn that, man. Literally, I was DJing in this club, and he came up, he showed me this whole system. Yeah, man, I just got it, man, from this guy. I got like 80,000 songs, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, he had all kind of songs, man. Temptations, you name it, And I'm like, nah, because
you couldn't see it right then.
I couldn't see it, right? You know what I mean? And it's amazing because it's like the Lord puts you in certain positions to where He's preparing you for what's next. And so as I remembered that, it was from Him telling me to a month or two later, me calling him back saying, "Hey, man, how much?"
Remember we were talking about before,
right? Hey, man, how much is that gonna cost me? You know what I mean? And he, he's an older guy. He's like, man, Dre, y'all give me I forgot what I paid for that, man. Me and Adonis put our little peanuts together, and we paid for it, the software and everything. He taught me how to use it the whole nine. So from there, we put together our own show. We started off at End Zone, Daiquiri Shop, and, they couldn't afford to pay us. They were like, man, we already got karaoke one night, which I think they were doing karaoke on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It was like, if y'all want to come in, man, I'm willing to give y'all a shot, but y'all just get the dough. I can't afford to pay out. Literally, and that's kind of, and we work, and I kid you not, man, we work for 6 to 8 months with no money, with 2-3 people coming in here and there paying $5, you know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, you got
gas money.
Right, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So then the crowd started growing, 15 this week, 30 this week. Before you know it, man, in probably 9 months, we was over 100 people. So you talking about it's $500. That's $250 for him, $250 for me. So, and then it kept on going. To where I think the max we put in that place was like 200 people, man. Like it kind of became a wave. It was 100 would come in. The dagger shop small, so they would be there for 8 o'clock when we started. They would probably stay 8 to 10 because they got to go to work the next day. They leave out, you get a whole nother crowd.
So they just
come in.
Cycle.
Yeah, it's cycle. A whole nother crowd. That crowd from 10 to 12. That's the younger people who they want to turn up. They ain't worried about going to work. They in college or whatever the case may be.
Their class don't start till 11.
Right. So, it became that spot. And then from there, now we've been doing karaoke for 11 years.
Wow.
So I went from DJing to karaoke, and in between, the karaoke was again something that pushed me more towards the live sound, because now I already knew a little bit about sound. I was already kind of doing a little engineering here and there, but now you're controlling microphones. I'm learning more. I'm buying good wireless mics because I sing myself a little bit, so I want to sound good. So I'm looking testing out different qualities of equipment, different microphones, different mixer boards, learning how to just keep the feedback out. So all of that stuff is being learned during karaoke.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a live set.
Yeah. And all that, and the way all that transpired, like you said, this was something that was offered to you initially.
Right.
Turned it down.
Right.
And then the light bulb goes off again.
Right.
And like you said, it ultimately it's God showing you, okay, this is the direction that I'm trying to take care of you now. If you just listen to me.
That's right. Absolutely. Yep. All of the signs were there, and that's the direction. That's why I say He orders my steps, man. And I just go along with the flow. I don't really, as far as of course, from the human standpoint, you have to make the decision, but the Lord placed on my heart about this stage, that I just bought. It's like, right now, I pray about it. I pray the situation. Okay, I want to increase my number. I know where I want my numbers to be. And, now the focus is how can I increase the amount of revenue, but at the same time do less work.
Oh, that Wells Fargo just crept out again.
What I'm saying, because I can't clone myself, so do less work. So now what you start looking at is the aspect of, okay, out of all the guys that I have on my team now, they're skilled in the DJ world of it, but now let's get the money that doesn't require much skill. You know what I mean? Because I can teach somebody to set up a stage, and I never have to show up. And it sits out there all day, and they go back and they pick it up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So then, following that is going to be an LED dance floor that'll be next on the list. That'll be the next purchase. And again.
So now it's about adding the elements to the events.
Correct.
And then that raises the price of the event.
Correct.
Smart.
That's right.
Wells Fargo strikes again.
I don't know if we want to say that. They're getting sued.
That finance mind strikes again.
Yeah. So it's just about the certain things that generate revenue that it's almost like rental property. It's like real estate. Because I look at a lot of my friends and associates. Business associates now, that's the big thing. They're in the real estate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they know, okay, I'm going to go spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on this rental property, and, I'm going to receive a check every month for, $600, $800, however. It's okay. Same thing. So I run my business like real estate.
Yeah. Trying to get residual income.
That's right, residual income. So I rent out these speaker systems. I rent to all, a lot of local DJs who can't afford to buy their own sound system. Mm-hmm. You rent from me. You know what I mean? That's how I started. Now, I used to rent speakers from Live Music. You know what I mean? Back in the day.
And now you are the Live Music.
That's right. Now I am the Live Music. You know what I mean? How can I, you got 2 weddings going on at a time. Okay, well, this wedding needs uplighting. This wedding needs a stage. Well, guess what? Both of those things, nobody physically needs to stay there once it's set up.
Yeah.
But yet, you've generated a certain amount of revenue. Somebody don't need to be there. We just got to come back and pick it up when it's over. So my goal is, how can I be in multiple places at one time?
How can you? So you used to play Monopoly a lot, didn't you?
Yes, I still do.
I can tell Monopoly player. That was one of my favorite games.
That's one of my favorite games. I love the game of Monopoly. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And it's challenges the brain. I like anything that challenges the brain.
Now, with all that you do and the things you've accomplished, and just how our city is, what do you see the future for for this city from the perspective of someone who's lived here, has lived his life here, has started a business here? But what is your vision? What do you see? Where do you see our city going? Do you see it going in a positive direction, or do you see it regressing? What's your thoughts on that? And I just figured you could just answer this because, again, your vast history of everything.
Well, it depends on the aspect you're looking at.
Well, and it's really more of just an opinion as far as, taking into account, the societal issues of Baton Rouge,
right.
The history of Baton Rouge, and the political climate of Baton Rouge, along with the economic climate of Baton Rouge, especially, just speaking from a black resident's
right.
perspective, because that's the perspective we have to kind of put out there even more, because that's who we are. But that's, just in your opinion, as far as the strides that you've made, and where do you see, kind of the city in a whole? And like I said, you can't speak for everybody.
Right, exactly. Honestly, I would say it's moving in a positive direction. And the reason that I would say that is because now, growing up, I didn't put a lot of emphasis on what other people were doing. I was one of those people that stayed to myself. I observed certain things or whatnot. But as I've gotten older, and crossed that 40 mark, to where it's very interesting to see a lot of my colleagues now are in politics. People that I went to school with, they're in politics, and they're successful in their businesses. They're giving back more, so we're all pushing to give back to these kids, to try to show them another side. We're pushing to curb the crime in the city, because, we do understand that a lot of this is going on from, drug situation to depression, to abuse, a lot of things, those things are what's bringing the community down. So we just got to get a grip on that. And I think I see a lot of people that are pulling together to decrease that. You understand what I'm saying? So there are a lot more programs that have been put into effect now for people who have somebody to consult with their problems. So I think we're moving in a positive direction, and it's very interesting to see, that everybody's coming together, especially within my age bracket and the upper 30 age bracket, that wants to be positive. They want to do something for the city of Baton Rouge. So that's why I say it just kind of depends on what aspect you're looking at. But also, from an entertainment industry, because that's the industry that I work in, now, with these kids, there's a lot more talent that's being exposed for Baton Rouge. I mean, Baton Rouge is more on the map now. It's not just, Lil Boosie, was the only, artist that kind of made it across, and people were like, oh, now you got the Kevin Gates, you just got the young boys. So
plethora of people.
Plethora of people. So now, people are starting to identify what Baton Rouge is and where Baton Rouge is at, because before that, nobody knew about Baton Rouge. They knew New Orleans. Yeah. But nobody knew about Baton Rouge.
So now we're starting to actually feel like the capital city.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So that's what people always say, like, nobody's been to Baton Rouge and it's the capital. But, everybody knows about New Orleans, because whether it be Mardi Gras, whether it be Jazz Fest, Essence Fest, whatever. So, all of the emphasis were on New Orleans, because New Orleans is that metropolitan city, you know what I mean?
That everybody thinks about.
That everybody thinks about, right. When you think about partying, you think about New Orleans. I mean,
this is true.
I want to go have fun. We go to New Orleans. Nobody says when we come to Baton Rouge. So I think now, even with the promoters, you know what I mean? The promoters now, with a lot of things that I've done, I've kind of inspired a lot of DJs. I've inspired a lot of promoters, man, to where they're trying to bring some different stuff to the city, Even TJ, because me and TJ, he's a little bit slightly younger than me, but, he travels a lot and he sees the same thing I see. So him being a promoter, he's trying to bring, what he's seen from out of town in other cities that they're doing. Hey, let me bring that to Baton Rouge, because, these people like to party too. We like to have a good time. We like to go somewhere nice, put our good clothes on, you know.
So it's good. Other people have the glass stage mentality. See, we're going to coin that, the glass stage mentality.
That's right.
Andrae McCray, I appreciate you stopping by, speaking with us on the Thrive Podcast.
I appreciate you having me.
Glad for all of the knowledge that you impart upon us as far as sound and keeping everything sounding crystal clear around here as well on Sundays and on special events.
Thank you.
We just really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you again next time.